8 hours feeding homeless or whatever it is versus 8 hours of feeding the egos of these maniacs, right?
Yeah.
More than that. So the choice, again, from a pragmatic standpoint, isn't a win. There's no win scenario here, right?
Unless.
So what is the highest choice that you have aside from the 8 hours? There's nothing that I can see that is pragmatically more than that.
Yeah, I guess I can't either.
Well, what exactly?
Again, they deserve not an inkling of anything, right? They deserve zero. They deserve.
Oh, you're getting muffled again.
They deserve to be thrown in jail themselves. I'm not addressing right and wrong here. I'm addressing pragmatics. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, and that's my ultimate goal, is to get them charged with like extortion and all that crap.
Oh, well, and, if you're gonna wish for something, man, wish for $1 million. Shit, don't waste it on that.
Well,
man, if you're gonna wish for something super unlikely to happen, like finding a winning lottery ticket on the pavement is probably a better wish than that this prosecutor and judge are going to face justice for their wrongdoing.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you that presently it seems unlikely. However, I am looking to a future, and that's sort of why I'm doing this. Is because I don't.
You've already got your story. Your story is already written. You've already got your point. The point is already made that you're in the right. As far as ethics and reality goes, the point's already been made. You've got your win. You've demonstrated that all of these lawyers that you came into contact with in this event are completely indefensibly in the wrong. And that you are, by all accounts, having given them tons of opportunity to show you as in the wrong. You know, having gone out of your way to give them opportunity to show that you've done wrong. You demonstrated that you're completely in the right. So I think that, you know, in terms of showing, in terms of revealing what's going on here, you're already through that. You've hit your goal and maybe missed it. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but I haven't hit my goal yet. I still have aces up my sleeve, so.
Okay, well, okay. Just consider whether you've hit the achievable goal. From here, be aware of what you're betting. Because if things go wrong, right, here you have an insurance, you know, opt-out of 8 hours, right? You've in addition to that shown them to be morally indefensible. If you're betting that against the idea that you want to achieve more in some greater scheme of things, right? More than joining us in our plight to people to take a look at this situation in situations like yours. You know, more than that, if you're wanting to make something even more grandiose. You know, remember that you're doing it from the beaches of Normandy and not, you know, from the safety of a soapbox.
Yeah, I'm aware of the dangers, but I also do not believe that they are entirely aware of the dangers that they are putting themselves in.
I don't believe I'm aware of any danger that they'd be putting themselves in either, unless you're talking about, you know, something that we don't tend to talk about. But or perhaps you're talking about something on the spiritual plane of things. But pragmatically, they're pretty damn insulated. Because they've actually got themselves and their friends in so many positions of the supposed remedies, right? They've established 1 billion remedies to all their injustices, all of them controlled by themselves, you know? Supposed remedies, I should say, not remedies at all. That's the point. It's only remedies if they happen to disagree with their subordinates, then suddenly you can maybe get some justice, right?
I can't really disagree with what you're saying when it comes to a point has been made. It's obvious for anyone to see, and he could mitigate the violence, and the 8 hours is an amazing thing after, you usually cause a judge and lawyers this much headache. You usually get in a lot more trouble than that. I get that. I get because I'm the same way, where it's not enough for me either, is like that win, and it is, it's limited. It doesn't, its effect to inspire others to do anything similar is limited. The more I can stand to go up their an endless escalating punishment scheme, then the more attention it draws to what it is they're doing. And if you can, again, uncharted waters and territory, leverage the pressure that we know goes on behind the scenes that we're never privy to, of these repeated recordings and everything like them getting out on the internet, and then knowing that it's out on the internet, and then knowing their first and last names are forever searchable on any YouTube search, and it'll link to this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the pressure against individuals as opposed to, their offices or positions or their quote-unquote system. If I have, and this is an individual choice for everybody, and I can't judge another's decision here, right? But if I have the ability, if I can hold my breath for longer, I will, because it's that much if it's no sweat off my nose emotionally, and I can handle that part of it relatively easily, and I'm this effective, and I can really expose this level of effectiveness, right after I get out of my rookie stage, my veteran stage, you're really starting to get the hang of really getting instantly effective at this, which basically means it requires that much less energy and effort on our part and anxiety. And I can keep the ball rolling through arraignment attempt number 14 or whatever it is, if I can afford to do it, if I can get the exposure, then I guess that I'm rolling the dice, I'm confirmed that that's worth doing, knowing that, again, it's a risk. So I guess that's what I'm saying. That's why
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I'm just thinking back, of course, to people we've seen spend innocent people jailed for obscene amounts of time.
Yeah.
For, innocent people. I mean, innocent people deserves no days in jail, let alone obscene amounts of time. And Robbie, if you obviously you're a grown man, you know what bet you're placing. And just like someone who comes out of the casino without a house, you know the bet you're placing, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key. And if things go bad for you, again, I sincerely root for you. But I also know, I know my perception of the odds that you're facing,
Luckily,
and
go ahead, Robbie.
Well, I will say that regarding these circumstances, I believe there are other variables which you guys probably aren't aware of. But I am very aware of what I'm betting, and I'm very willing to take any of the risks which I may face, even if it costs me my life.
That's right. I am aware that there are some, even ignoring the issue of jurisdiction, they have some very serious merit problems in their case that they're oddly enough distracted from.
Yeah, there is also that, but there's also the fact that at some point, Jenna Plank, the prosecutor, and Cheryl Albrecht, which is this judge, or any other judge, is going to have to also make a bet. And that bet is going to be, do I continue to do my job as I have done it every day of my life and risk going to prison for it? Or do I just step back and dismiss this case and let justice be done. And they are going to have to make that decision. And unfortunately, they will not know with any certainty what the consequences will be when they make that decision, but they will find out with certainty when the time comes.
So I was thinking big picture. Big picture.
But let's go on with the hearing.
All right.
Well, I'm just wondering how it is that you're able to compel me to come here under threat of violence if there is no evidence of jurisdiction at this time. I've already challenged the record that states that I have been arraigned, because I know for a fact that I have not been arraigned, and I've made that repeatedly clear on the record.
I had just created a record that you have made a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, that I've denied your motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. The way to protect your rights on appeal would be to have a trial, because what happened?
I don't know.
Again, was stepping all over the end of the sentence.
Right. And not only that, but again, answering something that has absolutely nothing to do. Nothing.
Well, that's not even an answer. She stepped on the end of the sentence because he hadn't gotten to a question yet, and then is blabbering on about a completely unrelated topic.
Yeah. I think that I think this might be happening over and over again because it's just not being addressed. I mean, I want to see one of your awesome, on-point, Robbie clarifications about this specific behavior on her part. To just call it out that, hey, on the transcript, I believe this is what's going on. To just make note of it, because it's not like it's going to be effective. It lets her know that you recognize that this is a repeated behavior on her part that is just rife with irrelevance, just non-responsive gibberish. Anyway.
As when you enter a plea, and mind you, I've made any legal advice since you're arguing your own attorney.
Objection, I'm not.
Well, I have found that to be the case. Again.
So my definition of actual reality is better than actual reality.
What? She's found what to be the case? That he has now an attorney?
Yeah, let's do it again.
That I am acting as my own attorney, yeah, I think is what it was.
Oh, God. Again, attornment is a horrible, horrible word that means so much more than representation. Of course, she took representation and just ran with it all the way to attornment.
Nice.
I think any legal advice since you're arguing your own attorney.
Objection, I'm not.
Well, I have found that to be the case.
That you are your own attorney. That's what she found to be the case.
Again, she's finding that he's turning himself over to the court.
And to find something that's a verb, does it imply more than I think? I mean, if she has found that to be the case... Yeah, she
discovered.
Yeah.
It's a synonym for discovered.
Right. So how did she discover that he's his own attorney? If he's saying he's not.
She found it in that signature that she made him put down.
Oh, okay.
That quote-unquote signature.
Nice. So clarification, this other implication is in my signature, Judge? Oh, do go on. Any other implications are in signatures for other things? Well, how dare you?
And you're relying on legal opinions and not facts and evidence.
I don't rely on my own finding.
I have my own finding. You said you're not using facts and legal evidence. I'm using my own finding.
Arbitrary and capricious.
Yep, arbitrary.
Come to mind.
Yep.
I would clarify for the record that Ms. Albrecht is relying on only opinions and not factual matters at all, and she is claiming and assuming that I have been arraigned, even though I've indicated repeatedly that I have not been arraigned, and she refuses to give grounds as to how she has found that I'm arraigned except to rely on the opinion, because I say that I made those findings on the ground, you have not made findings of fact.
Do you want a trial?
Of course not. My intention is to enter a guilty plea.
I love it. She's like, okay, let's finally just clean this all up.
Yeah.
Want to go to trial. And he doesn't take the base.
Too funny.
They want to know how this court has jurisdiction to impose upon me at this time, what evidence has been submitted to establish that. because you can't be forcing me to come here without evidence of jurisdiction.
We've had that conversation and you made your objection to know the record way to protect your objection and protect your legal rights going forward is to have a trial. I think you get a trial date.
Is it your
Just dying for that okay, the slightest okay for a trial date. Trial.
intention to continue to violate my rights?
I'm not going to accept your plea. When you enter a plea, a judge has to be willing to accept your plea. And when you enter a plea guilty, you give up a lot of very important rights. One of the very important rights that you give up when you enter a plea is a right to appeal legal rulings that a court makes. I don't think you want to give up your right to appeal my ruling because you object to my ruling. So,
I don't think.
if you want.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to give up your rights. She's not asking him, mind you,
Right.
because he's right fucking there.
Enter a plea, we could discuss that today. But if you're going to continue to object to jurisdiction, then I'll need to set a trial date for it.
I'll need to set a trial date for you if you want to object to
Wait.
jurisdiction.
If you continue to object to jurisdiction, I'm going to need to set a trial date.
I'm
Is that really
challenging
the sentence came out of her
jurisdiction.
mind?
I'm objecting. Sorry, what?
If you continue to object to jurisdiction, I'm going to have to or need to set a trial date.
Yeah. That's what she said.
Oh my, that is just a doozy of a sentence.
Now, is she hiding something in the word object? Because he didn't object to jurisdiction. He's been challenging jurisdiction. Did she dodge that one on purpose? If you continue to object to jurisdiction, I'm going to
That's a
set a
fine
trial
point.
date.
Yeah, counter-positive assertion would be a trial issue. Challenge is a little different, right?
Right.
But obviously, she's delusional at this point. By any reasonable meaning.
Simply, all I want is a yes or no answer from the prosecutor. Has she submitted evidence establishing jurisdiction for this court to impose upon me? Yes.
That concludes part 2. I'm going to do a quick save. Alright, we're recording part 3. Robbie just asked, where's evidence of jurisdiction, bitches?
Answer that
Are you
question.
answering?
When is the state ready for trial?
Trial dates are September 1st or September 6th. Those dates still work.
They don't work for me.
That date is pretty crowded, but I think Mr. Alban verified earlier today that it's actually not as crowded as I perceive it.
I would say for the record that those dates do not work for me.
When is the date that you need for trial?
I do not wish to have a trial. However, that is much too soon because if I were compelled to have a trial, so I want to state this for the record, if I am compelled to have a trial, then of course I would intend to call witnesses and prepare for cross-examination, and I would need to subpoena witnesses, and I would need to have time to do all of that. But before I can do any of that, I need to know, has the prosecutor submitted any evidence that the court has jurisdiction to impose upon you?
There's a reason why I think that's a brilliant choice of words, the whole strategy, the whole delivery, and everything. A, it let every motherfucker in the room know that if they do try and shove you to a trial, you will be bringing your A game, whether you intend to or not. That's an awesome bluff. Powerful. And 2, it just obviously brought it right back. Brilliant way to bring it right back onto our path from their path.
And it's making clear that this question, this yes or no question, is crux to you preparing a defense.
Yep.
Also, not just a crux to you submitting a plea, but you're broadcasting that this question is crux to you preparing a defense, and that they'll go through the same exact argument on you not having been given what you need to prepare the defense.
Yep.
Yes,
Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, so even if they try to force me into some hearing that they call a trial, I'll just be able to recall this part of the record and say, hey, I haven't even been given time for this. I'm not prepared. I have witnesses that I would want.
A key element. You're missing a key and threshold, furthermore, element. You don't even know what evidence this prosecutor is going to utilize to prove this element. You're going to be expected over your own objections all along. It's not that you didn't care about the issue. You've been trying to get at the information all this time, and the prosecutor and judge have worked in conjunction to keep you from knowing what evidence was coming, right? Again, presuming something is coming, and you're raising the issue. Now, oddly enough, the fact that you raise the issue means they can't present it anymore, which means they have to go on without it, which itself is a problem. This evidence could, in fact, and would, in fact, show you as innocent.
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's like hiding evidence from you that is exculpatory when you're specifically asking about it.
I love that word whenever it comes up. It is. It's like telling you to prepare for this thing, but we're not going to give you what you need to be prepared for the thing. But make sure you're prepared for this thing, and what date will work for you.
Yeah, and tell us what witnesses you're going to have to counter this thing we're not telling you about.
Yeah. Because the prosecution isn't going to provide it. Is the Brady request in, and what's the other document that really puts their feet to the fire on discovery? Is that in?
The limine? No.
Yeah.
I've done it all verbally, and now they sent me after this hearing. I was sent an envelope with the supposed discovery again, which is just a bunch of paperwork that I already had copies of, but Jenna Plank just wanted to make sure that I had it all. So I plan to use that as evidence of her criminal activity, because she has just submitted a case where there is no factual evidence of jurisdiction, because she just sent me all of her evidence and there isn't any. So presumably the district attorney's office should be punished or face sanctions because they have submitted a case where there is, in fact, no jurisdiction.
Man.
Well, that's, again, going a step further. How do you? There is no evidence of jurisdiction. No reason to believe that there's jurisdiction, at least.
So in the next hearing, I mean, there could be, I'm just fleshing this out in my head, so don't take this seriously, but there could be some kind of all right, Judge, well, I've gotten here an envelope that was supposedly the evidence that satisfies jurisdiction from the prosecutor. Do you have a copy of it? Does everybody have copies of this? Okay, great. Where on this, and just go into it. I've read this over thoroughly. I'm looking after my careful examination for evidence that pertains to jurisdiction that these statutes and codes apply. Where on that exactly is that found? It hasn't been highlighted by the prosecutor. I think after I resolve this matter, I can plead guilty, pay the fine, and go home. Can the prosecutor please point to me where this jurisdiction is established, or something along these lines? Because they actually submitted something, right? So great. Isolate, attack. Embarrass further.
Yeah, where this jurisdiction is established, or what led him even to believe that it was true that this court has jurisdiction, or something.
Or why is she trying to give you documents that she's aware you already have and have stated that you've already had, in an attempt to satisfy something that obviously has yet to be satisfied? Where's the sense in giving documentation that's already been given and failed to meet the burden of jurisdiction? So many different ways. Here we go.
So how long do you need to do the subpoena and how your may I get a yes or no answer to that? I'm not going to answer that question yet. Well, I let it actually happen. I'm asking how the record may have received and everything that I haven't answered it. I didn't even say on the hearing court. But she's not saying yes or no. There is a court date when you.
So she's refusing. You're just battling back and forth. She's not going to even answer you with a yes or no, and you are not going to give her that trial date. And she wants you to voluntarily give a trial date, because then they are going to say, you voluntarily said this date would be okay for you. You must have consented to all of this. They have jurisdiction, and now you are okay with a trial. So stop challenging it. You should have done that earlier. Too bad. Now we found that it's no longer relevant. Here's your punishment.
Oh, they'll go on at length about how you chose the date.
Oh, yeah.
If that happens.
I mean, if a judge is really hung up on something, obviously there's a reason why she's hung up on it. It's because it's very advantageous for them, and that's what's going on here. No different.
I don't agree with her. I don't want to be forced longer. I am a very busy person. I am very involved in the community, and I have a lot of things on my plate, and I don't have time to be violated.
found my right to be violated by people calling themselves judges and juries.
When would you like your case to be heard?
I am not submitting to the court's jurisdiction. I have not been arraigned.
On what your objection? When would you like the case?
It's not an objection. Stop rephrasing my actions. I am refusing to submit to the court's jurisdiction. It has nothing to do with objections. I mean, they're always trying to, oh, he's just objecting. I overruled all his objections. He was still objecting. That's why I just forced it. No, I'm not objecting. I'm challenging and refusing to submit to this. Ugh.
I want to be heard right now. I would like to be able to enter the plea that I'm attempting to enter. I simply want evidence establishing jurisdiction.
I'm not going to be accepting a plea until you're willing to give up my rights.
There it was. Did you hear that? I'm not going to be willing to accept a plea until you're willing to give up all of your rights. Quote unquote.
Well, and that, yeah, it's an overstatement to be sure. But all of the rights involved. I mean, obviously, that's a flub.
Sure. But it just goes to, I can't take the deal until I make a plea. I can't give a plea unless I give up all of my rights. I can't challenge jurisdiction unless I put in a plea of not guilty and go to trial. I can't do that unless I give up all of my rights. Or some of the rights, or whatever. Give up these rights. What do I get back in exchange for giving something up? Do I get something in return? Can I get the state to give up some right for nothing?
Yeah, where's the consideration in this supposed contract?
I'm no doubt.
You indicated that the prosecutor had answered the question, so may I just get a quick yes or no to the clarification on the table? Has the prosecutor submitted any evidence for the jurisdiction?
And again, this is the statement from Strasbourg, but also to be put in the record. The state only presents evidence when there's a trial. That is when the state presents evidence.
So far we're good.
If the state does not present evidence, it never presents evidence prior to the entry of a plea.
So there it is.
Asking for option C, which does not exist. The state will never present evidence prior to the entry of a plea. You cannot have a plea coupled with the presentation of evidence from the state. Period.
Then am I presumed innocent of the element of jurisdiction at this time?
Are you presumed innocent of everything?
Okay, so
Jeez.
I like how, again, there was a little bit of that's a new phrasing. Normally they say, presume innocent of the accusation or something like that.
Yeah.
Everything, I don't think that's quite what she meant to say. I think she means overall everything, but not. I think she's still being, she would back up if you said, okay, does that everything include jurisdiction?
Right.
You know?
Right. I just want to hear this little bit again. This whole rant here is just like, whoa.
So
You are asking for option C, which does not exist. The state will never present evidence prior to the entry of a plea. You cannot have a plea coupled with the presentation of evidence from the state. Period.
then am I presumed innocent of the element of jurisdiction at this time?
Are you presumed innocent of everything?
Okay, so then how is it that you've already found that I'm guilty of jurisdiction at this time?
Well, jurisdiction is not an element. Jurisdiction is authority for me to engage in certain acts as a court. And I have found that I have authority to engage in those acts by virtue of their being, by virtue of those Oregon state laws, statutes, the Oregon state constitution, the supplementary local rules, the uniform trial court rules, all of those rules combined give me jurisdiction to proceed as an authority as a judge in this case.
How the fuck do you know it's applicable? All this crap. You found that it exists. Yeah. China has millions of laws too.
Yeah.
Applicability is really the question.
She just said opinions. More opinions. You don't believe my opinion? Oh, there's these other opinions, other opinions. We don't have to provide evidence. We don't have to drag you here under violent threat.
No one's arguing that these laws aren't written somewhere.
Right. It's just a big, huge appeal to authority, big logical fallacy. It's just And they know it.
Are you saying you need to make a plea for the trial date? Are you saying that the element?
She just said you need to make a plea for the trial date. Of course, you can't make a plea unless you give up so many rights. Can't challenge jurisdiction.
Wait a minute, really? You need to make a plea for the trial date.
Yeah, that's what she said.
And revealing, if you ask me. Good point. Good catch.
So jurisdiction is not an element in these allegations and charges?
Using trial date.
Is that
It's not an element, jurisdiction is a prerequisite for proceeding, but it's not an element of the crime.
So she's using one definition and ignoring the other. We would have to clarify that we don't mean that secondary definition, and would appreciate it if she'd stop trying to distract the relevant matter onto it when she knows well and dandy that isn't the one. The one we're talking about is the element of a criminal charge. Is she saying that that does not exist on this record, yes or no? I mean, she's just denying that there's any element of jurisdiction. How many traffic court have I heard where the judge comes out ahead of time and gives everybody a little prehend speech about how they can have the elements explained to them, and jurisdiction is one of them.
So if it were true that you had jurisdiction, could it possibly be true that I was guilty?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you're willing to cross the line here, are you willing to cross the line there?
Well, I mean, that's the point of an element. You know, and again, she's playing with the meaning of the word element. An element is something that has to be true in order for the other part to be true, so the overall proposition to be true. An element is a sub-item that needs to be true in order for the overall item to be true. The idea that there has to be jurisdiction in order for there to be a trial, it's an element of the accusation, an element of the cause of nature of the proceeding.
According to her, jurisdiction isn't an element. It's not anything that needs to happen before a trial.
Yeah, and so the concept of not having jurisdiction is something that she just outright doesn't have in her head.
Right.
Which we know. I mean, that's how they tend to view the world.
Yeah.
So I'll say what happened. Okay, and so
When do you want a trial date?
I don't
This is about the 7th or 8th time in a row she's asked for this trial date.
want a trial date.
Well, I'm going to give you one.
Well, the next, if you're going to force me to have a hearing, then the next time I can come in for you sometime in November. However,
Why so? Why that?
because I'm busy.
And are you busy with that as your ability to proceed on the state?
I am informing the community in regards to judicial misconduct. So
Ooh.
I love that.
Ooh, this got interesting. What's this about?
I have staged play proceedings transcript from all of these hearings, which will be performed in front of live audiences so that they can know how people's rights are being violated in the city of the city of Portland.
I'll refer to fine tickets and the money with
You will name it there. I would clarify that if you set a trial date, I will not be prepared on that date because I will not yet have a hearing where the prosecutor has submitted evidence establishing jurisdiction.
Nice cut back to the potential motions hearing that she has referred to and left open a possibility for. You're now pointing to her admitting that is some part of the process earlier. We'll see. I'm interested to see how she responds.
So I will not have the opportunity to subpoena this.
I need to set a date sooner. I could after, especially since you're looking for this decision now, maybe like about 6 weeks from now, at the end of September or October.
We said it's for call on October 14th or 12th or 17th. Oh, you got comments?
Yes,
All right. Maybe call this out for the time that we're on stress. It's a good 6 weeks.
Again, I will clarify that I will not have the opportunity to subpoena witnesses before then because we will not get a hearing where the prosecutor has submitted evidence of jurisdiction, which jurisdiction is something that I challenge you.
You just want to have that motion and then you can hear the time of trial. So October, it'll be on call for October 7th.
So are you indicating that I will have an unfair advantage sorry, you will have, this prosecutor will have an unfair advantage and I will not be able to be given the opportunity to subpoena witnesses.
You can subpoena witnesses, nothing that you're doing today interferes with your ability to subpoena witnesses.
I won't know which witnesses I need.
The thing that you're doing that interferes with me being able to subpoena witnesses is you're forcing this to happen within 6 weeks.
You can if he's saying, you could subpoena witnesses. Well, in theory, you could subpoena random people. They're subpoenaing the correct witnesses based upon the information. It's as if this person is acting as if she doesn't comprehend English. I mean, it's not about subpoena random witnesses. It's about subpoenaing the witnesses that are exposed by this information.
Sure.
Yep.
I mean, Robbie's trying to clarify what evidence the prosecutor's going to submit, stands here without discovery, and might still yet, for all they know, get a lawyer, and if it's a high-priced one, for sure they're going to want more than 6 weeks to prepare for trial when we're subpoena witnessing, right? It's I don't know, it's kind of obvious her rush, but I just wonder about pointing it out effectively enough at this point to give us that November. Robbie mentioned November, so I want November.
I mean, are you allowed to subpoena a John Doe witness?
Yeah.
Who the prosecutor knows about? Maybe you should be subpoenaing the prosecutor there herself,
And oh, by the way, nice mention of the production that's going to be exposing judicial misconduct to live audiences, dude. Holy shit.
Bonus points.
They don't hear that very often. And I'm telling you, Robbie, the judges and all that deal with you, they have to be taking you every bit as serious or more, I would say more serious than they took me. Your presentation and layer of professionalism in there, they just have to know. It's convincing to the public. You're not ranting and raving, you know what you're doing, you're not foolishly saying this and that and the other, contradicting yourself, you know legalese enough to get past the best they can throw at you.
Yeah, they don't realize that I've pretty much devoted my entire life to catching criminals of one sort or another. So
it's gonna be hilarious.
Subpoena and no evidence establishing jurisdiction.
I get your argument on that, but we will have the ability to subpoena witnesses. So you call
objection to my clarification. You're saying you understand my argument, however, you're still railroading me and saying that I do not get the chance to subpoena witnesses where I would be most effective in a trial.
You can subpoena whatever witnesses that you follow along the other issues of subpoenas and witnesses. We have a very compulsory process.
Yeah, subpoena, since you seem to be holding on to evidence of jurisdiction and not sharing it. I still mean you, since you seem to have evidence of the prosecutors in the work.
The only evidence I have is from the court record.
Okay, so you're relying on opinions rather than facts, even though. So, are you lying? Okay, are you lying my ability to do?
I don't know.
Okay, and I know that I have not been. So, are you going to settle this because of opinion facts, or are you going to continue to be arbitrary?
I consider the facts you consider to be opinion.
And then you ask you, are you
Let's say arbitrary and capricious, Senator?
Yeah.
Are you continue? Oh, wow. You just said, are you going to rely on facts, or are you going to continue to be arbitrary and capricious?
Oh, is that what you said, Robbie?
That's awesome.
Let me hear that.
I don't know if I said capricious.
I know.
Okay.
I'm trying to hear it myself.
I consider the facts you consider to be opinion.
And then you ask you, are you under duress?
Oh, it was earlier. I heard arbitrary something, but I don't know if I heard capricious. It might
Yeah,
have
she
been
started
arbitrary
talking
opinion.
over him. Okay, he might have just said arbitrary, and then she started talking over him, and I thought I heard it. But okay, either way, it's still good.
Yeah.
So you don't believe that you would be under duress if you might be afraid of losing your job while you were entertaining my arguments?
So was it the judge that you just asked if she was under duress?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did entertain your arguments, and I agree with you. I'm not bringing your motion.
She didn't speak to the... You would think she'd be like, I'm not under duress. What are you talking about? But she didn't deny or affirm it at all.
She said, I don't believe I'm under duress, is what she said.
Oh, I don't believe I'm under duress? You don't know if you are or are not?
Psyche belt.
That's not usually something that's up in the air for question. You're either under duress or you're not. You're either doing it of your own free will or you're not.
Or she's not sure if she likes it or dislikes it, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know whether or not. I believe I'm not. Oh, okay.
Well, hold on. It's a fine point. It means it's an issue that's up for debate as to whether she's under duress or not. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's surprising, is it opens it up. Why aren't judges just like, no, I'm not? What are you talking about?
The point is that she believes. It means that she's not conclusive, right? So your motion to strike all of her crap because she doesn't know if she's under duress or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear as day.
She can't commit to the idea that she's not under duress.
How can you not commit to that? You are a paid
Yeah,
judge.
right?
You are not committing to you not being under duress. You are slinging orders and threatening violence and up there on a platform with the robes and protected by men with guns, and you don't even know if you are under duress or not. How are you fit to adjudicate anything, whether it has jurisdiction or not? How can you even attempt to call yourself fit to determine whether or not another person is under duress or not, if you're not even capable of understanding whether you are?
Yeah.
She shoots you down like, oh, this is just under duress, but oh, notwithstanding, you've acknowledged it. They do that to you. And then they admit they believe that they're not under duress. This is common sense in the US of A. Woo!
Are you familiar with the handbook of the judges? We call the anti-arraignment movement handbook.
If there is a complaint that you would like to file with an individual commission, you may do so.
I'm simply attempting to show on the record how it is that you are biased and you are in fact acting under duress at this time.
I don't agree that I'm under duress.
Okay, are you familiar with
I don't agree that I'm under duress. Odd.
the anti-government handbook that judges read as part of their
Anti-government handbook, I have not been provided any document called anti-government.
There is an anti-government movement handbook which was written in the 90s also.
Go ahead, Robbie.
You notice what she did there, because
Yeah.
I misstated the title of the handbook.
Yeah.
And so that is the point where she said she's not familiar with that handbook.
Yeah.
Once I left out one of the words, I thought it was interesting.
It was just to make what you're saying sound silly without giving you the opportunity to finish first.
And all judges use as part of their training. And in that handbook, I would point to a page which notes how a judge lost her job, or lost his job, he entertained certain arguments and made rulings with that person, and subsequently lost their job. So
You wish to file a complaint with the Oregon Judicial Commission, you may do so. You can inquire through, I believe there's a website.
You can inquire through a website. Nice. Nice.
That will allow you to get the information to file some complaint.
And
We're concluding this I will recopy everything and put it in the mail. I just want to confirm that is so that I can help this to get.
I believe you must mail it in there, however,
Obviously, everything should be discussed, but we should have proceeding would be communication with my office in writing law.
objection, I'm not proceeding per se at this time.
Okay, well, I'm finding otherwise I have accepted your ability to proceed per se.
What facts are you using to find that?
This period is concluded. I do need another minute order, setting dates.
Do I not have the right to be heard?
You've been heard sufficiently today.
Well, I have not yet been informative policy nature of these proceedings.
Wait, so she was just saying this hearing is going to be over, but then, oh, we still need to get this date. Where's the date? Right? Or did they set the date for October 6th and 7th or whatever?
Yeah, I think they said
I
it.
think they
the
did?
6th and 7th.
Okay.
I will say for the record that still have not been arraigned, and that the judge is refusing to clarify and correct the record and allow me to be arraigned. I will note that you are engaged in criminal activity.
You can be seated. It's time to order.
You still have the opportunity to act in an ethical manner so that you won't face criminal actions. I did also want to ask one man out the bar number of the original hearings from these.
You're not under any obligation to do that.
Well, they are all witnesses of a crime, and I would like to.
Gary, it's encouraging that the judge spoke up and is trying to protect the lawyers, like talking to them. Oh, you're under no obligation to give him that. If what he was saying was so, like, worthless, she wouldn't even bother responding. They'd laugh at it. She has to take it a little bit seriously in order to actually speak up and say, you all don't have to respond to that. You know what I'm saying?
Possibly.
Why is a judge telling lawyers not to give up their bar number? She has no business making that sentence whatsoever as someone who's clearly in a position of authority over them. None.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that she'd open her mouth.
Be able to call on it.
You can be seated. You can have a picture.
So you're reviewing me.
You can be seated.
So you're not going to give me the bar numbers of the attorneys.
I'm not going to do that.
May I have your bar number?
My bar number is 93110.
931990?
I think so. I wrote it down somewhere. But
Are cell phones allowed to be on? I'm just wondering.
Because that's when you were pointing out when the other lawyer had it on.
yeah, I'm standing right behind her watching her look at Facebook, and I'm like, her cell phone's allowed to be on? I'm just wondering.
Well, this is actually that you're talking about. That's actually in court.
Yeah.
During hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After it was concluded, I guess, right? I guess technically it's over right now?
Technically, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Even if you're an attorney? For calendar.
Please be seated.
No, I'm comfortable standing. Mind your business. I hate it when they say that.
This paper, I'm not able to read what it says.
You want to make sure you have we'll take a copy of the line copy so you have to make sure it's readable.
So, you got the scoop on what's the rest of this? Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty much over now.
Oh, okay. And then you walk out of there. So that was how long ago? Almost a month. And you're going to be in there again in 2 weeks.
Yep. So in 2 weeks, I think I have a feeling that I'll be a lot less afraid of them.
Oh, yeah.
There will also be witnesses to the judge's crimes, people who will be willing to actually serve as witnesses.
Yeah. You know, we could, it would be pretty easy to make, just a template for a motion. And then you could submit like 6 or 7 motions on just egregious, this obvious, blatant abuses of power, right, that we mentioned. All the stupid things she said. That would take up some mic time. That would definitely put a wrench in them, because they're going to try and rush this to a trial. They're going to try and steamroll you and call the officer forward and let's testify and shut up or it's a jail cell for you.
Yep.
And of course, not go in order, not establish foundation
Right.
of applicability before skipping that and straight to other BS.
I don't know, Robbie. What about an experiment to just see, how much push do we have right now? What if we just, for the next 2 weeks, tried to send everybody into not only calling after, but beforehand, to let them know that people are aware you're in another forced hearing and that we're all listening online, thank you. Or not even that, just that we're going to be awaiting the outcome. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
You could email the links to these videos to their office to just make it blatantly obvious that we've got radar on them and this is what's being said on YouTube about them, not it, not the system, them.
Yeah, these people. Yeah.
Specifically.
Or everybody calling for an interview with the subject of the play.
Yeah.
Are they selling tickets yet?
Calling to ask if the play was actually going to be in the courthouse.
Yeah.
So is the play going to be in the courthouse? What are you talking about? Why is everybody calling to see if there's a play going to be here?
Yeah, man, something united would be dope. Anyway, now that it's over, I just want to thank you both on your time. We're sitting on 4 hours. It's never easy to sit and do this for 4 hours. It's just like muddling through, and I think it's extremely valuable to help other people hear it. So just a big thanks on the time for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And for the input, and for the bravery, and for the expertise, Gary, and all that good stuff.
Well, it was a lot less. Normally these get my blood boiling a lot more, but the fact that Robbie's very much reaching to the, a good answer, if not the perfect answer.
Yeah.
It's hard to reach the perfect answer in the heat of battle, but always reaching to a good answer or a good point. Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a plus, right? Because I listen to others and I start to get a little irate because you hear the judge getting away with stuff they shouldn't be getting away with, and we need to do this and say that, but on these ones it's kind of like the right thing is usually coming out of his mouth. So it's more laughing at them than being frustrated at missed opportunities. So I see what you're saying.
Right.
Good times. All right. Well, I don't have anything. I'm pretty exhausted, but man, that's such an entertaining. I'll probably listen to it again, piece this together, and get it on within a day or so.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Gary, and thank you, Joe.
No, well, obviously, as it turned out, I had heard that before, or most of it at least.
Oh, cool, yeah.
But again, it's hard to tell one from the next because they act so similarly.
Yeah.
It's just a couple things were obviously different, like the laughing at him about.
Yeah, right.
And the violence is just such a laughable thing to them, I guess.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on October 6th, whether they try the same tactics or different ones, or if they're ready, or if this judge acts like she's brand new to it again, or what. But it'll be
it'll be interesting to see if it's the same judge too.
Yeah.
I would say I'd be surprised actually if it was. Because there's too many things that you can bring back up as having discussed. It's almost easier to bring up a new judge who's coming all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed about how, we're going to do some justice here, everybody on board.
Yeah. That was awesome. You took the court up for, including that 15-minute recess, like almost an hour, dude. 48 minutes, start to finish. That's a long time.
8 hours. Over 8 hours of, the current offer is.
Yeah. Yeah, total mic time. And I swear to God, it's because you're so good at the Socrates, man. You know, there's no, you don't give them reasons to threaten you. You know, you give them very few reasons to be able to take it there. And the way that you engage in them encourages them to at least make an attempt to engage you back on the same level of civility, even though they fail miserably, right?
Yep.
I mean, you're very, very tight into the, just point of clarification thing. I don't recall anything where you really stepped into an assertion other than I've not been arraigned, which is just one, oddly enough, that you can easily kind of back up, and one that they didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So gold all around. Thanks, fellas. You got anything else? Because I'm about pooped out.
Nope. That's it for me.
All right, I'll get online. See you on the convos.
Yep.
Talk to you later. Have a good one.
Bye.
So one.